Hey everyone, this is Alisha Costanzo and welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be going over my June TBR wrap-up. Okay, so June was a little odd. I did read 10 books. I missed 2 books off of my game, and that's because at the beginning of the month they were available. A week or so into the month they were 2 or 3 weeks out, and then they got worse and I didn't have any holds free and I had to put them on hold, so I have 2 books that are on hold. The first one is Wildflower by Drew Barrymore. The second one is Tell Me Lies by Carola Lovering. And I'm just gonna have to roll those over because I don't want to take a punishment, but it's not really, it's kind of my fault, but it's not really my fault that they suddenly became unavailable. I'm working on it. As long as I get them done, I should get them both I should get one next week and the other one before the end of the month. So as soon as I get them, as long as I complete them, as soon as they're available, I'm not going to punish myself for it. So there we are with that. I have to prioritize them though, so there's that. Okay, let's talk about the 10 books that I did read for June. And I read no paperback books. I read 9 audiobooks and 1 ebook. Doesn't surprise me very much as a stat. Category wise, I did 3 young adult and 7 adult. So I read 3 sci-fi this month, and that is out of my norm, but it's going to become more normal because I started a new sci-fi series with my husband. I read 5 fantasy, which again is not, well, which is not abnormal because I read a lot of fantasy. I read 1 mystery thriller, again not abnormal because I've been reading Bosch at least once a month or so. And then I have 1, I don't know what to call it, whether it's a contemporary or a romance. It kind of fits both categories, so I'm putting it out there. It doesn't have the normal romantic trajectory, which is why I'm thinking contemporary. Overall, I read 3,344 pages, which is pretty good. It's on the upper part of average. And I read 78 hours, 34 minutes, and 10 seconds, which equates to 3 days, 6 hours, 34 minutes, and 10 seconds. So that is a lot of listening to books, which again is my new normal. So yeah, let's talk about the books. First of all of them were 4 or higher. Am I just being too nice? Like, I don't feel like I am a nice editor, that I feel like I'm a picky reader in general. Am I just picking a lot of things that I like? Do I know what I like and I'm sticking with it? Like, I don't know why I'm being so nice right now. Is it audiobooks? Because audiobooks make me forget about a lot of the grammar stuff and the buried dialogue and some of the head hopping things that I don't like. So is it fixing that? I don't know. But let's talk about the books. So my first book in June was All Systems Red by Martha Wells, and I gave this a 5-star. I really, really liked it. My husband jumped in a third of the way through and listened to it with me and really liked the voice and the character and the humor and the way, as he said, it sounds like it was meant to be read out loud. My word for this is POV. So this is the POV of the murder bot, the hired killing machine from a corporation when you go out to terraform or do research on like other planets and stuff that are not inhabited but might have monsters and things that were gonna kill him. So, you know, that kind of thing. And he would rather sit around and watch soap operas than kill things, or interact with the other with the humans and stuff. And he's both machine and human because there are some things that he needs to be able to do that only a human can do and they can't program. So they use a mix of the two, and it's pretty interesting, and I liked it a lot. And he was funny. He was funny and likable, and I obviously wanted to read more of him, and I did. But we'll get to that in a minute. Alright, let's talk about book number 2, which is Silverborn by Patricia Briggs, and this was book number 5? Book number 5 in the Mercy Thompson series, and I have been enjoying the shit out of my Mercy Thompson books. I gave this a 5. I love her voice. It's just, yes. So, my word for this is strength. And this particularly because even though Mercy often has to get rescued during the books, like she gets herself into all this trouble that her boyfriend needs to come save her, or some kind of other big bad paranormal creature needs to come save her. She is being strong for other people and like bargaining away everybody else's freedom so they can get away, and then staying there because it was a long shot to get all of them. So she's going to be the one who stays and can survive through whatever it is that people are going to try to torture her with. And they have, by the way. Yes. So that kind of strength is just, it makes her character I just keep wanting to come back to. She has no qualms with sacrificing herself for innocent people. And I like that quite a bit. 5 stars. I'm so glad that she's still writing in this series because I'm going through them way too fast. Way too fast. Way too fast. Book number 3 is Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. I gave this 4 stars. My phrase for this was a lot. So this is my contemporary romance, more contemporary than it is romance, because the people are already in a relationship, and the rich Chinese culture, I think it's Chinese culture, and the gossip and the going behind each other's back and the manipulation and just being in people's lives and tinkering with it. But there was a storyline in there that really kept me going, and that was the main character's, his cousin. And I can't remember their names right now. I'm sorry for that. But the cousin and the cousin's husband and the baby and that whole thing, like, I loved that. There's just something about that made me go, something is going to happen here that I'm going to enjoy. So I did enjoy that part. I did enjoy the ending of it. And most of the crazy stuff in the middle, although written well, I was just like, no, not the kind of thing I like to read. So, not the kind of thing I like to read. Although, a lot of that kind of stuff happens in dark fantasy too, which is why I'm hit or miss with dark fantasy, urban fantasy. You know. Book number 4, speaking of that, is God's Grave by J. Kristoff, and I gave this 5 stars. I believe I gave his first book in this, Nevernight, 5 stars. And my sentence for this was, what the fuck just happened? I can't even get into why there's that phrase, but the ending made me immediately want to get the next book, which I haven't. I had other priorities, but oh my god. Oh my god. There were some things that I think took a little bit too long, but because the tension was kept pretty well with the perspective and the types of things that were happening and the type of really crappy shit and circumstances that were happening, I really enjoyed this book. Like, I thought this was going to take me forever, and I flew through it. I just couldn't put it down. So, yes to God's Grave, and I will be reading book number 3 soon. It's part of a challenge, so it'll be soon. I put it there to make sure that I read it soon. So, what the fuck just happened can be figured out. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. Book number 5 is The Closers by Michael Connelly, and I think this is like book 10 or 11 in the Bosch series. I don't know where I am in the series at the moment, but I do know that Bosch has finally gotten back onto the detectives squad doing homicides, but it is the closers, so it is the cold cases that they're closing, and obviously he does a really good job of figuring it out. I was surprised a little bit by who... I was surprised quite a bit. I don't feel like the clues were quite there for me to figure it out, but then again, he always twists it on me somehow at the end, and so yeah, I'm totally okay with this. I like him being back on the force. I was surprised by the end with some of the hierarchy stuff, and I hope there's still, like, all of it mixes together, so it's a lot different than the show was, and I'm pretty excited about what happens next. Which, by the way, my word for this was justice, because it got justice in multiple ways, as he always does. Because Bosch is amazing. It's just that. Okay. Book number 6 is One Dark Throne, and I feel like I'm saying her name right. I've heard it say Kandari Blake, and I say Kandare Blake, so I think it's Kandari, and so I'm going to try to start saying it properly. But oh, by the way, I gave Closers a 4.5. This one I gave also a 4.5 because, first of all, my word for this is foreshadow. They did an excellent job foreshadowing and making me feel tension and predicting things that I thought were going to happen, but also sometimes, which is why it's a 4.5 instead of a 5, is that it felt like it was too prepared for me for something to go wrong, and then something didn't really go wrong. Like, things worked out really well, except for the one person who died, and that wasn't a surprise either. So, like, the tension was there. I almost put the dead queens in there because there's a scene where one of the suitors, Peter, goes down the hole where they throw the dead queens, and some shit happens that's pretty scary, and I was here for that. I liked the scary. So book number 6 is Half Off Ragnarok by Shannon McGuire, and I gave this 5 stars. This is the only book that I actually read on my phone rather than listened to, as has been with all of her books. My word for this is Alex, because I thought we were still following Verity. This is what happens when you don't read the descriptions. Books. I mean, it's book 4 in a series. I know I'm going to read it and I'm going to like it. I don't really need to know what it's about, right? Ooh, okay, we're following a new character. Welcome Verity's brother, Alex, who is a scientist and a zoologist and a cryptozoologist like his sister, and things start dying around him at the zoo, and they have to figure out who's turning these people into stone. And there's some stuff with his girlfriend and his assistant who's a Gorgon, and this, like, all of these communities. It is super cool, and I really like Alex. I really like his voice, just like I like Verity's. Oh my gosh, love these guys. Can't wait for the next one. Book number 7 is Artificial Condition by Martha Wells, number 2 in the Murderbot series, where he's kind of trying to play human a little bit. And I gave this another 5 stars. I had a lot of 5 stars this month. Like, oh my gosh. Some really good books, guys. And my word for this is art, because art is the artificial intelligence on the ship that he kind of stows away on in exchange for some drama stuff that he's got stored in his cloud data thing, whatever you want to call it, his feed. And art is interesting because he's really, really smart, obviously. He isn't like an actual artificial intelligence and AI, but he likes to watch dramas through Murderbot's perspective on his feed rather than watching it by himself, because he gets the feedback to understand what's going on better, like the emotions he's supposed to be understanding through that double feedback loop. And he is funnier than hell. I love him. I love some of the comments and his reactions to the shows that they watch. His comments and reactions to the things that the Murderbot's doing, and just like overall, he is an awesome character. I got 2 really great characters going on in this, and I hope he continues to be around in the rest of the series. So, yay. I will be number 3 will be coming soon. Not this month, but soon. We're gonna be continuing with number 3. Husband loves it too. Yes. Okay. Number 9 is The End and Other Beginnings by Veronica Roth, and although I do feel like I missed some things because I haven't read her other series other than the Divergent series, that I still really enjoyed all of these stories, honestly. I enjoyed all of these stories. I gave it a 4, only because I felt like the one with like the parasite, like on the back of the neck, controlling alien thing, I've seen it a couple times, so it wasn't as impressive to me. But the word I have is love, because love was core in all of the stories here. I think there was 5 or 6 stories, but my favorite was the one where the young girl lost her father, was losing her mother, who was an alcoholic, and she went through the schooling that her dad really wanted to go to because she had perfect pitch, and she was going to go create people's music, so their life music or their death music, their life song or their death song, and she had to choose between the 2, and it was really, really cool. And her life song was apparently pretty crazy, and I really liked that. I just liked the whole vibe of that. If that's somewhere else in more in one of her books, I need to read it because I liked it a lot. And my 10th book for June was Sea Witch by Sarah Henning, and this also got 5 stars, although I keep treating between 4.5 and 5 stars, but I read this one really, really quickly. My word for The End and Other Beginnings was supposed to be death music, which makes sense with the ramble that I went on, because the word for this one was love. I'm not going to go back and re-record it. You guys can see me mess up. It's fine. Everything that was done in this book was because of love or revenge for a lack of love, if you want to call it that. This is a retelling of Ursula, and it goes with this core group of people. Different perspectives. It goes back and forth between the past when they lost their friend and after they lost their friend in the sea, and the present where there's a mermaid who resembles said friend quite well, and the trying to get the prince to fall in love with her, and the main character Evie being in love with this other guy, but then the princess, and she's a commoner, and all of that stuff. I get 80% of the way through this book before I was just like, things are going too well. I know what's going to happen, or I know in general what's going to happen because it is retelling. We're learning Ursula's backstory, and she just punched me right in the gut, and the love was a big part of that. Even in the epilogue where we see the other side of The Little Mermaid, Ariel going to see Ursula to get her voice taken away and to go up and trying to find her love. And granted, I'm saying Ariel as in the Disney movie. I don't know if there's another name for the other ones, although I have read them. That's the one that's like the most clear in my brain, so that's the one that I'm referencing. The Little Mermaid, the one with the sharp pains in the feet, which I really loved because that is one of the old school Little Mermaid tales. I really liked why she took her voice. I really liked it. It was good. It did everything I expected it to, and a little bit more, which is why I gave it 5 stars. So there you go. Alright. Those are the books that I read. I read 10 of them. They were all pretty damn good. I hope next month is just as good as this month was. I could do with some more 4 and 5 stars. I know it's not as exciting for me to be like, oh, I hated the book. I gave it a 2 or 3 or 1 or whatever. I like 4 and 5 star reads because that makes me happy. So let's hope that they just keep coming. Yes. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you have been reading in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. Tell me your ups and your downs, and I will see you next time. Bye guys.